So anyway, so I come back to Tbilisi, and again, everything now we're like sort of like mid-April, late April, moved to go play volleyball outdoor now. Like I said, Alina had kind of like not been kicked out, but she had conflicts with people, so she was kind of gone. So I was back to being volleyball Mr. Boss Man. And like, I don't love being boss man because there's stress, but for the most part, it was good for me for like the first few years. By the end, trying to get enough people to play as my sort of like, I guess you could say my trajectory of Tbilisi towards the end, years 5 and 6, like things started to slow down. That was maybe a bit of stress trying to get enough people to play, but in general, I enjoyed it. So come back to Tbilisi, we're doing the volleyball thing outdoor again. Ross, through his hiking, he joins hiking clubs and things. He met this girl, Cynthia, who's Canadian. He's like, Bruno, you got to meet this girl. She's super cool. So we go hiking at this place called Tbilisi Lake. Maybe I'll show you some videos. It's not very pretty. It's like Ross loved to go there for taking photos of birds and things. It's very flat and deserty. It's almost like a salt bed lake or whatever, alkaline or something. I don't know. So we went out there. There was Cynthia and her sort of boyfriend at the time, Levon, who's a Georgian guy, who's a filmmaker. And that was super cool because like both those people, I was like, oh, super sweet. So for example, like Levon, he makes films, but he would also host events in Storeti, which is kind of like this area above the city behind Tbilisi Lake. We go up there at night, a bunch of us, like mostly Georgians, and watch like these films. One of the films we watched is called Blue Mountain. It's like a Georgian classic. I think they viewed it as like a Christmas movie or something like that. It's from the 80s. It's just so goofy and funny. It's fairly entertaining. Earlier, I mentioned my favorite Georgian movie is called Pig, which is a bit rough around the edges, kind of low budget, but it's amazing. But this Blue Mountains is like a Georgian classic that all Georgian people love. It's like they're like a version of like, I don't know, maybe a Woody Allen film before he became notorious for bad things, mixed with like Home Alone or something like that. But very goofy, very good. So hanging out with Levon, hanging out with Cynthia. Cynthia's into hiking, so hiking with her as well, and Ross. I think we have a really cool photo set from this like Bev-ready monastery Storeti hike with Ross, Cynthia, and I. I also did a hike with Cynthia one time. It was crazy. There are these like abandoned tunnels in Tbilisi outside the city, like on the perimeter, where they're going to build like a train throughway so that the trains didn't have to come through the city. But when the government's changed from the previous government to our current government, not our, but the current government, they abandoned the project. They abandoned all kinds of things from the previous government. So there's these like massive tunnels that are like maybe like a kilometer long, and they're broken up throughout the perimeter of the city. And I'd seen these on the map, like kind of like, what is this? So I was really curious about doing it. And I had done it once before, but did it with Cynthia. So I probably have some cool footage or pictures of these tunnels. Check this out. Yeah. But that walk, we actually walked all the way out to Patara Lilo, which is my little Kamloops zone on the edge of the city with the weather ball. It's one of these things that when you're in Tbilisi just walking around, you can see it way in the distance. And it's a sort of marker that frames the city for me. So we walked all the way out there, and I think that was like the green time of the year. I'm not sure. I think it was very green. Yeah, it would have been green. So it doesn't really look like Kamloops in the shots from that day, but maybe I've got some Kamloops mode shots for Patara Lilo for you as well. But yeah, I love that area. So anyways, hiking with Cynthia, still hanging out with my volleyball people. Now hanging out with this Levon guy who's a filmmaker, super cool. And the school year kind of comes to an end. And it ended on a super high note at New School. Like super, super duper high. I decided not to teach at International House for the next year, but New School was going great. My classes were great. I finished the year, we were doing like this like musical chairs game for the students. And I was like the DJ, and I like, oh dude, it was so much fun. And then on the final day, we had our teacher appreciation thing, and I got a little bit drunk, and just like, I remember like walking home that day and being like, dude, this rules. Like, this is really good. So the summer started off really great, and it like only got better. So that summer, I didn't leave Tbilisi. I didn't do any vacation because I already done 2 vacations for the year. And I was like, all right, let's hit it. So I started running regularly. I was playing volleyball already, which is decent for your shape. I was already hiking, which is decent for your shape. I started doing track sprints. I have some footage of that. Like just short track sprints. I started rollerblading at Tbilisi Lake like every week. So I probably have some good rollerblading footage from Tbilisi. That was super cool. So I'm getting in really good shape, but also now I've got Cynthia hanging out with her and her friends. We go to like these rooftop movies at Fabrica, probably some really beautiful rooftop footage there of the downtown area. And then we'd go to like the bar and drink and like go out or whatever. Anna and Sergey come back, and like now Sergey and I were like kind of jamming a bit because he's on the synthesizers and things. I probably have like a loop that I can sort of play in the back of this that you can hear. I think it was Senya. Senya doesn't really play music, but she was touching this like sort of like thumb bell thing, and then like I was playing the bass line and like whatever. Anyway, so I'll put that in there. But life was getting really, really good. And I think like there was an American teacher from New School who's really into punk rock, and I started hanging out with him, and live music events started happening again, like rock and roll, punk rock, really like physical stuff. So yeah, man, the summer of like of that year 3 was like amazing. Like I said, hanging out with Saddam, Senya, Luca. Really started hanging out with Senya a lot, and yeah, dude, like just a crazy, awesome summer. Cannot complain. And you know, looking back on it, so like the highlight of my time in Tbilisi is year 1 in the summer. I mentioned in a previous video, like the watermelon fighting with the knives at Ananuri Lake, and a barbecue that summer, and how I actually had to go to Batumi and kind of decompress because there was so much people time. But like this summer here of year 3 was like, I don't know if I would say as discovery mode, like awesome, but it was unbelievable. It was like, yeah, like the honeymoon was not over by this point. Because that's the other thing is when you live in a new place, there's like a honeymoon period, and it would end for me rather shortly, as you'll find out in the next year, year 4. But that summer of year 3 was awesome, dude. So yeah, ending on a super high note again.